Hi friends, welcome to Vedshaala. So this is Sarit with yet another episode of Vedshaala podcasts. So today with me, I have a very interesting guest who has started learning Shastriya Sangeet since the age of 4 years. And the interesting part here is that he continued with it even after shifting to Canada. So he is the founder of Phoenix Gharana School of Indian Arts, USA, Arizona. He teaches Shastriya Sangeet there to more than 200 students. And even he performs extensively in different parts of the world. So we are very proud that he is expanding Indian culture to different parts of the globe. So welcome, Mr. Manu Srivastava. So, Mr. Manu, I have been told that you are practicing Shastriya Sangeet since the age of 4, right? मेरा बेटा भी अभी 5 साल का है, उसको तो अभी ठीक से बोलना भी नहीं आता है. So, what is that clicked in your mind कि नहीं, I will start practicing Shastriya Sangeet, and what is that which kept you going towards it?
Originally, from what I'm told, when I was 3 years old, actually, I used to come out of the room like you would do on stage and dance. तो मेरे जो ग्रैंडफादर थे उन्होंने ये देख के कहा कि कुछ इसके पूर्व जन्म से है.
Okay.
So you should look into this. And my entire family, the Srivastavas are known for education. So even my mother, she's PhD in physics, my father PhD in mechanical engineering, and so on and so on. So they looked into saying, okay, we should look into some kind of music for him.
Mm-hmm.
But being a boy, dance was really not attractive to my father, even though I was put into Kathak as well. That's where the journey started. Whether I liked it at age 4, I'm not really sure. But that's definitely where it started.
So you like going to those classes? You used to like it?
From what my mother tells me, I used to sit there for hours and actually enjoy it. So, I obviously don't have memories at that age, but it seems like, yeah, I did enjoy it.
So when is that time when you felt like I should keep on working towards it and start looking over it as a professional career?
So professional career, music, nobody ever pushed me towards, including my Guruji. उन्होंने कहा कि पहले अपना education खत्म करो. Make sure you're financially stable, because to make money in music on top of Shastriya Sangeet,
right,
is very, very difficult. So I had never really looked at music as a career. So, I did chemical engineering. Now I'm a vice president for a defense company. But, I kept on my music as, I would say, a passion. Something that will keep my culture, जैसे हम लोग संस्कृति बोलते हैं, away even 9,000 miles away.
So, Mr. Manu, I have been told that you shifted to Canada when you were 6 years old, right? Now, it is very fascinating for me that a 6 years old child, that too in a Western country, so many miles away, how is it possible for you to keep on working towards your passion, and that too Shastriya Sangeet?
So again, at 6, the force came from my mother. When Indians move to another country, they try very hard to keep the culture, the language, the way it is. जो यहाँ पे नहीं हो पाता है, वो actually West में हो रहा है. Because वहाँ पे इस चीज़ की कमी है, right? तो जहाँ पे बहुत ज़्यादा होता है, जहाँ रोज हम लोग हिंदी बोलते हैं या म्यूजिक सुनते हैं, तो we start taking it for granted. But in locations like America and Canada, you cannot. So we don't take it for granted. It's actually a luxury. So my mother instilled that discipline and that expectation कि तुम चाहे कुछ भी करो, whether it's engineering, medicine, whatever, you will also do music. So being a good boy, I started riyazing. And the way I learned was very difficult, actually, because my Guruji was in Kanpur. And what I would do every year is finish school early, come to Kanpur, and then learn 3-4 months face-to-face, and then go back. And then I would get cassettes. At that time, we had cassettes. and listen and learn from that. And then again, following year, go back and refine all that. So it wasn't like, face to face learning for many, many months in the year. So, but I guess music chose me and I kept going.
Great. So, Manu, I have another question related to my previous question itself. That you told us that you used to come back to Kanpur every year to take classes or and learn music. So, isn't it like कि वहाँ पर जो लोग थे, कनाडा में जो लोग थे, मतलब मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि wasn't it was looked upon like a taboo कि यार ये क्या कर रहा है? ये शास्त्रीय संगीत क्यों? Why?
Definitely, it was not a popular thing. Or, being a kid that age, even, when I became a teenager, majority of my friends would make fun of it. Ki kya laga rakha hai? What is this? It sounds like, two cats fighting. So it was a difficult art form to appreciate, to learn, and then be appreciated in an environment where, you rarely hear classical music. But अगर आप हैमिल्टन में उस समय होते तो आप किसी से भी पूछते थे शास्त्रीय संगीत कौन गाता है तो it was always Manu Srivastava. So, that's something I did not realize at that time, but now I realize today, that I did something, I did break what is not normal.
Correct.
So that taboo became something of interest to many people over there.
I can relate with it. So me also an electrical engineer, that too from IIT, right? And the day I broke that news to my parents that I'm not going to do a job or software job or something like that, they asked me क्या करना चाहता है? I told them I want to become a teacher, right? So I can relate with that. But haven't you ever felt like कि peer pressure है उसकी वजह से demotivation हो रहा है या कुछ ऐसा?
Many times.
So what is that which kept you motivated?
Fear.
Fear of?
Yeah, fear of disappointing my parents. And, I think a majority of my life, I have really appreciated what my parents have given me. Wo fear ki they will be disappointed kept me going. But inside, I was like, as soon as I'm in college, I'm done. I'm quitting. But at the age of 16, my Guruji was on tour in US and Canada. And then, he came to our house and unfortunately passed away. But before he passed away, I still remember it was 6:01 a.m. I still remember this. And I said to him that I promise you, your legacy will live on. So I think that drive, that fire came from that incident.
Very inspiring. So Manu, as you told us that you promised your Guruji that you will be continuing with his legacy. So what are you doing? Are you doing something in US or Canada or different parts of the globe to continue with it?
So I started as soon as he passed away, the only way I could think of proceeding with learning actually was teaching. So I started to teach a few young kids that kept me motivated. And I started to actually learn from kids of what to do, what not to do, how to improve faster, and the psychology behind how kids think in the West. जो कि बहुत ही अलग है इंडिया से. At a very young age, I became very interested in teaching. Performing was next to none. As soon as I moved to the United States, I started thinking I need to really expand this in a very major way. So I moved to Phoenix, Arizona after completing my chemical engineering degree. And there, I thought of the name Phoenix Gharana. Now, because of social media, this became a big no-no. Because the word gharana in classical music represents 7 generations of learning. The reason why I chose gharana, and I knew this would cause problems, but I chose it to, first of all, break this control of music that, these ustads and pandits have. I think music should be broadened and it should be for everybody, whether it's learning, understanding, teaching, performing. So I chose the word gharana is because the entire city of Phoenix actually came together to popularize Phoenix Gharana as a school. And it was very appropriate at that time to do so. It caused a lot of ruckus here in India If you go back to social media, was coming out very, very strong at that time, 2007. But slowly and slowly, many maestros have come about. They have given workshops. They have performed at major festivals that I organize over there. So we've really developed an environment that is not seen elsewhere in the United States. And they've started to respect the name Phoenix Gharana.
Hats off to you. Pulling something of this kind, that too in a Western country. Marvelous. So, Manu, what do you feel like that how music is an integral part of Indian history or culture?
Music started with Samved, as we all know, which, in the Western term, we can say 5,000 years old. That's where the concept of the first note, Sharaj, or Sa, as we call it, came. It is also a well-known factor that our entire religion is based on the Vedas. And the first thing that we're taught in Upanishads or Gita is that there are 5 elements. Okay, we know the 4 are very, very. We know them well. You have air, fire, earth, and water. But the 5th one, very few people know, and that is Akash Tattva. And that is actually the largest element of the universe, because if you go out in the space, it's just empty. So that Akash is also in our minds, and it's something that you cannot see. So the word Nad, was brought out, the vibrations, good vibrations, was brought out by this concept itself. And now we know, science has proven that there was a Big Bang. There was some kind of vibration that caused this Big Bang to create the universe. And our scriptures actually say it was when God spoke Om, that first note, which is Sharaj. So the concept of music, culture, religion, everything is correlated and has been there for 5,000 years. Modern times, we have started to forget those things. Now you will see teachers are more interested in just teaching for the sake of teaching, not really because they want to promote something.
Correct.
And that's where the moral values come in. Teachers need to instill those moral values that, our culture, our music goes very far back, and it has survived every type of invasion you can think of, and yet it still blossoms. Even in modern times, even in India, हम लोग कहते हैं कि, शास्त्रीय संगीत खत्म होता जा रहा है, खत्म नहीं होता जा रहा है. It's always been there, it always will be. But yes, mass में नहीं है. Or one example I can give you is diamonds. Diamonds are very few in the world. Patthar bahut hai, coal bahut hai, but diamonds are very few. And that's what classical music is. It's music for the class. People who want to understand what is music, people who want to understand the depths of music. It's for those people. It's not for everybody. So what I have tried to do is take those concepts and use those concepts in a Guru Shishya Parampara, which is very unheard of these days, and teach classical music. So basically, I work from, say, 8 to 5, 8 to 6 p.m. And then after that, I take 3-4 hours of class every day. In the weekends, I'm teaching almost 8 hours a day. So
Great.
That fire to be a performer is pretty high in my students. Even just a few days ago, 2 of my students came to Pune. They're very young and blew the crowd away. There are over 500 people at this auditorium with, maestros like Pandit Anindo Chatterjee, Padma Shri Vijay Ghati. They were all there and they were listening to these girls.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, and they were like, oh my God, how old are these kids and how have they been learning? So there were a lot of talks about Phoenix Gharana at that time, but I think it's not just the fame aspect, it's the cultural and moral values that we must instill in the next generation. I think Southern India does a very good job of it. In the North, it's lacking.
Correct.
Largely in the North population, it's what we call the Punjabi culture. It needs to be instilled in there.
Even we find a lot of reference of music in our ancient literature as well, right? If you talk about Ramayana or Mahabharata, I don't recall any such literature in which there is no reference of music. Can you throw some light on that?
Sure. So music has been a big part of education system from the beginning. We know Ram was sent to his guru along with his brothers at a very young age. We also know for a fact that Ravan, the demon Ravan, was a great musician. He played the veena and composed many compositions. So the concept of music has been there for, at least from Treta Yuga. And even when we pray to Goddess Saraswati, which was Yakundentu Tushar Har Dhavla, that shloka actually came from Rishi Agast. And so we know for a fact that, music has been an integral part of many, many yug. Arjun was sent in Agyatwas, where he chose to be a music teacher. He changed himself into a woman and became a music teacher. So, that's something that has been there, and I think it's going to continue for as long as Earth is there.
Well said.
Also, we hear about the great Ras Leela that Krishna did. There were so many gopis who wanted to dance with Krishna, and he multiplied himself into many, many Krishnas. So that concept of Ras Leela, the music, is there from that era, as we call it. We also know that when many Rakshas were demanding, after doing a lot of tapasya, demanding gifts from various gods, these gods were like, oh crap, now what do? We have to fulfill those. So they asked Goddess Saraswati, the goddess of music and knowledge, to go and sit in their throats or vocal cords and ask for something completely opposite. So the concept, the goddess of knowledge and music and dance, has been there for many years, and it's quite important. And speaking of Krishna, Krishna was known to play the flute. और बहुत सारी compositions हमारी music में हैं. बिसर गई सुदर्शन मुरली को, मुरली सुनते ही, they would just go, they would lose their minds because he would play the flute so well and grasp the attention of so many people. So music has been there. It's a very big part of our culture. And actually, any religion you see, music is a very integral part, big part of it. Because Akash Tattva is the closest to God. The way you reach God is vibrations, and vibrations is music. Now, there's the other side. We know that Lord Shiva, when things get too bad, and the only way to restart everything, he must dance, the Tandav. And Tandav, it's seen as a negative thing, but it's also a very positive thing because you are destroying evil. You're destroying something that cannot be saved anymore. And at that point, when it's said, pralay hogi ek din, when all the moral values are gone, that's the time that Shiva will dance and a new beginning will happen. So music, dance, religion, culture, everything has come into play and correlated.
Correct. So what do you feel like why today's generation is not too much inclined towards at least Shastriya music? मतलब ठीक है, hip hop culture we understand, उनको अच्छा लगता है, but why not towards Shastriya music? Is it about accessibility? कि the actual thing is not accessible to them? Or is it about awareness, or is it about something else?
That's actually a really good question. And it's a question I've been asking and fighting for many years as well. I'm a very vocal person. So in the music circle, I have brought this question to many maestros and pandits. And I said, आपके बाद जो generation है, वो कैसे आगे बढ़ाएगी इस चीज को? Where we lack is definitely education. I think as a country, India, if we mandated music in our schools, it would definitely do a lot of positive, it would give a lot of positive outcome. We are not promoting music, जब भी कहते हैं अच्छा मैं एक musician हूँ, लेकिन आप करते क्या हैं? That's the second question that is asked. And that really turns off the young generation. मैं classical music करता हूँ, अच्छा लेकिन आप करते क्या हैं? And I've been asked that many, many times. And I'm like, मैं कुछ नहीं करता, मैं बस गाता हूँ. Right? So like that anger is there. And I know many young artists in India and elsewhere who are struggling to keep the interest going. Number one, they're not supported financially. You know, आप जितने भी classical programs देखेंगे यहाँ पे, 99% of them are free. They're supported by, you know, some kind of a donation or a promotion from another company. So that gives a wrong idea to the younger generation. इसमें है ही नहीं, पैसा ही नहीं है. तो पहले आप 30 साल अपना लगाएंगे to learn this, and then you're going to struggle to get stage time and then money on top of that. So why should they do it?
Correct.
That's where the morals come in, the moral values. And all my students, you know, majority of them, many of them I've been teaching since they were 3 years old. And now they're going into college or even getting married. And I've instilled this value in them that don't treat music as a money-making machine. The day you stop treating music comes to you, and then that higher being or God or whatever you call it opens doors that you've never seen. So that hard work must be there. हम लोग कृष्णा बोलता था ना कि कर्म करो, फल की इच्छा मत करो. You know, it's true. It's actually true. I have seen it. When I didn't care for certain things and I just worked, things started opening up. I'm here today out of the blue, you know? So I always see and feel that we must instill these moral values in youngsters and tell them that you're doing music not for money. You're not doing music for fame. You're doing music because you love it, and that it brings so much joy and peace to people, your audience, you know. So that's why you're doing music, not because, you know, you're going to be very famous out of it or you're going to make money. There's a chance you may be famous. There's a chance you make a lot of money, but don't lose sight of the fact that this is more living a life than actually working towards a career.
I completely echo with that thought, but at the same point of time, me and you, we both being in our 40s and having attained a certain maturity level, we can understand the depth of this statement, right? Yes. But how can you keep a child who is let us say 12 years old, 13 years old, how can you convince him कि भाई you have to do this?
So the way I do is attract them to goals. Okay, आप गाना सिखाते हो, वो सीख रहा है, वो क्या करता है उसके बाद, you know, whether he has opportunity or she has opportunities to sing, perform, compete. Those are all important things for kids. Kids want a goal. You know, if there's no goal, they're like, why should we do this?
Correct.
So I have instilled that in our school. We have competitions twice a year. So, you know, one competition khatam hota hai, then they start getting ready for the next one. So this just keeps going and going. This pushes them to learn music, you know, 3-4 times a week with their school and violin and sports and whatever else they're doing. So I think the attraction needs to increase from the guru's side. And I see that lacking in India. There are a lot of institutions, but opportunities nahi. And if you give the kids opportunities, you show them the way, like I have given to the 2 students that have come here. The WhatsApp message that they sent me after the program is like, we're so thankful we continued with you for 12 years because this experience we'll never forget. You know, so those kind of things will promote music more in the younger generation. I'm even trying to start an exchange program, barring visa issues that we have right now, where the kids from India would come there and kids from US would come here and experience learning, performing in both sectors, which is very different.
Great initiative, yeah. Now, since we have Manu Srivastava in the house, obviously हम आपसे कुछ सुनना भी चाहेंगे 4-5 लाइनें, बट वो बाद में. उससे पहले एक और क्वेश्चन है मेरे दिमाग में कि आप म्यूजिक सिखाते भी हो, आप परफॉर्म भी करते हो, आप 8 to 4 जॉब भी करते हो, राइट? एंड एट द सेम पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम आप शायद बॉडी बिल्डिंग में भी इंटरेस्ट रखते हो. पहले बात तो इतने मल्टी टैलेंटेड कैसे हैं? पहला क्वेश्चन. दूसरा, इतना टाइम और मोटिवेशन कहाँ से आता है? एंड थर्डली, वन वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन दैट इंडिया में एक बड़ा स्टीरियो टाइप इमेज है घराना कि हाँ ये एक्स घराने से है तो हिज अपीयरेंस वुड बी लाइक दिस, वो ठीक है, बड़ा क्लासिकल लुक में होगा, इंडियन एथिकल लुक में होगा. What is
Because I started teaching at a very young age, कहने को तो मैं इंडियन हूँ और हमेशा इंडियन रहूंगा. They say you can take an Indian out of India, but you can never take the India out of the Indian, right? But my mentality, my upbringing, my thought process is very westernized. तो लोग हमेशा सोचते थे कि क्लासिकल म्यूजिक में या तो बहुत सूखा आदमी या थोड़ा मोटा आदमी या बिल्कुल ग्रे हेयर वाला होना चाहिए. And even when people would call me for classes, and then when they would meet me, they're shocked to see that I look like this, and they had a completely different visual of it, right? So that is definitely there, and I am a pretty big proponent of breaking that stereotype on social media. And people are, they watch me, they're like, man, you have so many bodybuilding photos and ye sab bhi karte ho, tum music bhi karte ho, kaise karte ho, kyun karte ho? And I said, it's because of people like you, because you're asking this question. Obviously, your thought was that way. I want to inspire the younger generation that, you can look Western, you can act Western, you can be cool and hip and hop and whatever else, but don't forget your moral values. Don't forget your culture. Don't forget your language, and don't forget your music. So that's the direction I want to do. I'm doing that with my 12-year-old. Actually, he'll be 13 very soon. He's born, brought up over there. But, Hindi सीखो, उसको मैं इंडिया इसीलिए लाता हूँ हर साल कि कम से कम वो roots और वो अपने culture से touch रहे. I would also say, कहने को बहुत आसान है, अरे उसने body बना ली उसने. To build a body is just as tough as learning classical music. The discipline, the diet, the daily, मन नहीं करता है जाने का जिम, लेकिन फिर भी जाओ भाई, जाओ जल्दी जाओ. रियाज का मन नहीं करता है, so that discipline is very similar in both fields. And I felt that bodybuilding has given me the stamina to teach for 8-9 hours for the last almost 30 years now, so it's something that I always tell people, oh, आपका गला खराब नहीं हो जाता है, आपका गला बैठ क्यों नहीं जाता है? मैंने कहा गले और बॉडी बिल्डिंग से क्या लेना देना? नहीं, हमारे गुरुजी ने कहा है कि आपने बहुत वेट लिफ्टिंग किया तो आपका रेंज खत्म हो जाएगा. मैंने कहा ये these kind of myths are definitely there. They need to be completely broken. And so every time I give my example, I say, hey, I've been doing bodybuilding. I don't think my range has gone anywhere, So yes, if you take, illegal substances, that definitely affects your body and vocal cords. But otherwise, if you're doing a pure bodybuilding with diet and also, nothing will happen. So these stereotypes definitely need to be broken.
Great. So, Manu, I have a very, very interesting question to you. Like the whole concept of Vedshaala was based on ki I need to deliver or fill those gaps which are there in Indian education system, and I need to deliver moral values to the kids through our ancient literature. Now, from where this idea came to me that right now, as I am in a management position and I need to lead a team of people, right? So I know that there are so many principles which are already there in Mahabharata, Ramayana, wherein I can learn from them and apply in real life, right? So that is where I always tell my kids as well, कि यार ये सब सीखो, you should learn, you should watch Mahabharata, Ramayana, Vedas, Puranas. The next question they ask me, why? पापा क्यों? ठीक है. So ये तो मुझे समझ में आता है, and I am somehow able to educate them. कि भाई these are the reasons. Now, if I ask my kids to, as you are telling, कि we should promote Shastriya Sangeet to the kids, again they will ask me the same question, why? What is your take on that? What should I answer?
Moral values are different for different cultures, different establishment, but I think there are moral values that are common to humanity. When you are learning music, you start learning the discipline, the respect, the humbleness that you need in life to actually survive and actually progress. The West has been great for opportunities. It's a fast culture. People make a lot of money, but they're not happy. Why is that? So I started to question that in my 20s. It's like, okay, I have a really good job. I have a house. I have 2 BMWs. Now what? So it's like, it's something that comes with maturity. You start understanding why. Now, to tell your 13-year-old, you must do it like, Dad, come on, like, why? This is crazy. Nobody does this, you know? And slowly after a few years of learning, my son started not asking those questions anymore. He's understanding why he has to come to India every year. And there are no real good answers in words to teens, because when you're a teenager, everything your parents say is wrong, right? So if they say yes, the teen thinks it's definitely no. So that's something that's going to be there. But as parents, that push needs to be there. What teens really need to understand is, why are they so attracted to the West? Why is it that, hip hop is a lot more cooler? Why is it that pop music is a lot more attractive? Justin Bieber comes here and you get 100,000 people or more, and Pandit Hari Prasad Chaurasia comes in, 800 log baiठते हैं उसमें. Why is that? And I think there are many layers to that. Again, like I said, classical music is for the class. So you want to be an elite. If you tell the teenager, if you want to be an elite, you need to do classical music, I think they will look at classical music in a different manner. So it's the way you communicate with teens that really brings out the end result that we all see.
This line you have used second time, that classical music is for class. I like that. So obviously, as I said, since Manu Srivastava is in the house, so in the last but not the least, if you can sing something for us, for our audience.
Sure. So I talked about Goddess Saraswati.
Right.
And, her presence in my life is crucial. Without music, there is no life. And that line, many people say. So I'm a firm believer of that. So I will sing a small shlok that I said Rishi Agast wrote in probably 3000 BC or something. Ya kundentu tushara hara dhavala, ya shubhra vastravita, ya veena varadanda manditakara, ya shweta padmasana, ya brahmachita shankara prabhiti bhir, devai sada vandita, samam patu saraswati, nishesh jadyapaha. So basically, the goddess that shines, gives prakash like snow, or white flower like chameli jise hum log bolte hain, and sits on a white swan, wears white clothes, the purity of music, the one who's always prayed by Shiva and Brahma and so on, all the devas out there. That entity, I want her to come and protect me from the evils of life and give me the light to survive in many dark places. So I'll sing that. Mm-hmm. Ya kundentu tushar har dhavala, ya shubhra vastra vrita, ya veena danda manditakara, ya shweta padmasana, ya brahmachut shankara prabhiti bhera, devai sada vandita, samam patu saraswati bhagavati, nishesh jadyapaha.
क्या बात है, awesome.